Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I'm your host, Rick Becker. Tonight we've got a good show for you. Special guest coming in from Fargo City Commission. We also are going to have a really good Freedom Fest interview. Yaron Brook. Yaron Brook, great author, and I think you're going to enjoy it. First up, though, I want to talk about this infrastructure bill. We've covered it once before on the program last week. This has been something that has been very timely, and there have been updates over these last few days, and so we're going to hit it one more time. So let's pull up the first graphic. The bipartisan infrastructure bill from Reason magazine. They say it is a sham. This is the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. They say that it is a sham because it sets up, amongst other things, sets up a bigger round of explicitly partisan spending later in the year. It includes such things as drunk driving prevention technology, a ban on vaping on Amtrak, new reporting requirements for cryptocurrency, on and on and on. We covered that it does cover a lot of infrastructure spending, and that is in fact the reasoning that the North Dakota Senators gave for voting for it. They were one of 18 or 19 Republican senators that joined the Democrats in passing the big infrastructure bill. The problem is that for many of us, we're worried. Sure, infrastructure is necessary, but we're very, very concerned about our spending habits and that we are putting future generations at risk. July, for instance, was again super high inflation, well over 5%, just as we pointed out in June, which was significant inflation. And we're told that this is a transitory thing. It's very, very temporary, and yet here we go. We got another month's report. July, it just came out, somewhere around 5.4%, I believe it was. Spending like this is only going to make that problem worse. It just sends us further and further leaning over that cliff. A lot of this spending, they say, well, that's already covered, but in fact, up to a good $400 billion of that infrastructure bill is new spending. Now, both of North Dakota senators voted for it. I disagree with them. I think it's a wrong vote. I think they should be taken to task. When they do good things, we call them out. Senator Kramer, very proud of him for supporting significant reforms to the emergency authorization of force, meaning sending people overseas to fight wars which we don't declare. However, this is one where we need to take them to task, hold them accountable, both Senator Kramer and Senator Hoeven. Pull up the next graphic if you would. Senator Kramer has come out and discussed his vote on the spending bill. He has defended it, and he has explained it like a good senator should. He explains that it includes a lot of things for roads, bridges, broadband, carbon capture. We can argue whether that's good or bad. And he did have something that was very good. He put in there a little golden nugget which prevents from the executive branch from adding regulations regarding fracking. So that is something good. I would refer to it as a gold nugget in a crap sandwich. So that's fantastic. He got something good in it. But here's the thing. Senator Kramer is posting several times on social media and explaining himself, which he should do. He was on either Maria Bartiromo or Charles Payne and was explaining one of the reasons he supported it is that it would make it harder to pass a $3.5 trillion huge Christmas tree Democrat progressive far left bill that they call in term human infrastructure. I didn't at the time, I still don't. I don't understand how helping them pass this big part, this $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill, makes it harder for them to pass a $3.5 trillion human infrastructure plan. This just paved the way. They consider these two things as a package, and that has been said by Pelosi, it's been said by Schumer, it's been said by Biden. He had a great interview with Maria Bartiromo. I was watching it in the airport on Sunday, and he posted it. Pull up the next graphic. The problem is a lot of conservatives see the GOP senators who voted for it as not being very consistent with the party. And you'll see, if you can read at the bottom of each of these, of course, it's the same single interview. But one of them says, Maria Bartiromo asks GOP Senator Kramer if he's, quote, betraying the Republican base. The next one says, Fox anchor Bartiromo scolds GOP Senator Kevin Kramer. And the last one says, Maria Bartiromo rips Rhino Senator Kevin Kramer for supporting infrastructure bill. Asks, where's the money for the border? And she did indeed ask those things. Pull up the next graphic. This graphic is of all of the Facebook posts that Senator Hoeven has up for the month of August thus far. Again, the month of August in which all of this infrastructure stuff was happening. Now, Senator Kramer discusses it, explains it, defends it, and again, as I said, any good senator should. Senator Hoeven's page, however, he talks about drought, he talks about the Space Force and UND, he talks about Purple Heart Day, he talks about the people from Castleton coming to visit him in DC. So no word about it, which is, I guess, from what I understand, pretty typical for Senator Hoeven. Is not a big fan of anything controversial, not a big fan of having to defend any of his votes, which is why he is pretty middle of the road on most everything. He did have a statement on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. Let's pull that up. And in that statement, he does explain some of why he was supporting it. And part of it, he says that he believes passing this bipartisan traditional infrastructure bill will make it harder for Democrats to pass their $3.5 trillion tax and spend bill, which I strongly oppose. Now, Kevin Kramer also strongly opposes that. What's interesting, back to this Reason article, they have taken this argument to task. And what they say is that rather than restraining the spending ambitions, the infrastructure bill tees up the rest of the package, advancing the ball on the larger Biden agenda. So when 19 Senate Republicans turn out to vote for the infrastructure deal, arguing that it's fully paid for, a compromise, doesn't raise taxes, et cetera, it's all a sham. That's what Reason says. So we have both of our senators saying, hey man, I voted for this $1.5 trillion that the Democrats wanted, that Biden wanted. I broke away from the rest of the Republican Party to prevent that. Pull up the next graphic. Because they want to prevent this $3.5 trillion human infrastructure plan. Whoopsie, the Senate moving forward on the Biden $3.5 trillion human infrastructure plan. So it's on its way. This was known. We know it's going to move forward. Now, there is the possibility that Senator Kramer is right, that somehow passing that, Senator Manchin or one of the other senators, conservative senators, is going to vote no. I don't see it happening. I think the 3.5 goes through, and these 19 Republican senators just helped it by passing the 1.5. The 3.5, by the way, includes pre-K for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. It includes childcare, free community college, more funding for black colleges, $107 billion for permanent status for immigrants, $135 billion for forest fires and to reduce carbon emissions, $332 billion for public housing, $198 billion for clean energy. This is what the $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan paved the way for. I'm sorry, but I don't see how the yes vote by these 19 senators, including North Dakota's very own, both Senators Hoeven and Kramer, was anything but a mistake. So give them a call if you agree with me. Let them know how you feel. Next up, Tony Gehrig, Fargo City Commission. Speaking of big spenders, we'll see you in just a couple minutes.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Go for Launch 2018 series winner. Without further ado, it is my honors. Reginald. The winning team is the Flumin River Excellent.
Oh my God!
They won!
All right, we're back. It's No Apologies on Beck, and we have a special guest with us. It is Fargo City Commissioner Tony Gehrig. Tony, welcome. Welcome aboard. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me
So,
back.
we were just talking about all the big spending that is occurring on the federal level. But as I understand it, Tony, Fargo is trying to get some accolades in that same area. So can you tell me, Commissioner Gehrig, why is it that you love spending taxpayer money so much?
Because we get to look good, right? As a city commissioner, I get to say, look what I gave you. I increased your taxes and I bought you publicly funded art. I did all these things for you that you couldn't otherwise do, which is, of course, not true. Our budget this year in the city of Fargo is going up by 7%, which is a huge increase. Our property taxes, our mills, so of course there's two parts, and I'll try to be quick. There's two parts to your mills. It's your valuation and the amount of mills that we charge you. Mills is just a percent of your valuation. So if we keep the mills the same and your home goes up by 150% over the last 10 years, guess what? You're paying 150% more in property taxes. So the city of Fargo has lowered their mills by about 10% since I've been a commissioner, which has never happened before, by the way, which is great. It should be more. But the valuations have gone up by about 150% over the last 10 years. So the home I bought in 2009, that was $100,000, is now worth $250,000, which means the city of Fargo is draining in a ton, millions and millions of dollars more per year for our budget. We need to reduce those mills, stop spending on things that we don't need to be spending on, needs versus wants, and fix the roads, fix the bridges, put the streetlights in. Stop spending on things like publicly funded art and new buildings that we don't need, and career centers that have nothing to do with the city of Fargo that we're spending that money on. And on Monday, the city commission voted 4-1 to increase the city budget by 7%, with one dissenting vote, which was me.
That's incredible. You know, it's a problem with city and county commissioners, I think, generally speaking, because the people that are willing to be of service are going to be naturally of the mindset, when you see what the job description is, it's spending money. So people that are interested in spending money and think that they have great ideas, hey, I love the city of blank or the county of blank, I've got some great ideas, we can do this, 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 and this. You're naturally going to have a strong inclination of big spenders. And I think the city of Fargo clearly, whether they're Republican or Democrat, with you as the sole exception, are all big spenders. The question I have for you is, how does the cycle break? It takes a change of the voters, and I just don't see them, certainly not in Fargo, I don't see that happening.
No, and it's getting worse because the people who are fed up with paying their high property taxes, their high special assessments, their high sales taxes, all these other taxes we put on people are leaving. So the people who make things, the people who do things, the people who create jobs are saying, I'm going to move to Horace. I'm going to move to some small bedroom community right outside of Fargo. And it's not that far away, by the way, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But they live 20 minutes from Fargo, but they don't have to pay our taxes. So what's left? We're going to be Minneapolis soon. We're going to be a community of nothing but apartments, of nothing but people like crammed into a downtown area with high crime, with no production, with people who are demanding $15 or $20 an hour to work at McDonald's, who aren't creating anything. And Fargo is on that track. Mark my words. In 2021, I said this. And in 2025, when we have 65% apartments, 70% apartments versus homes, we'll look back and say we screwed up. And we're subsidizing those things today as a city of Fargo. Literally, we are 60% apartments today and 40% homes. A decade ago, it was the exact opposite. And that is not a good trend.
Right. I agree with you. No, this just occurred to me. I think it would be good if you or someone would try and make it relatable to the property owner and say, look, if there were 5 Tony Gehrigs over the course of these last 10 years, if you had 5 of him, your property taxes right now for a $250,000 home, we'll say, would be this. Instead, they're this. Your voting in city elections matter, because I don't think people ever put the two together. All they think about is, hey, we've got great services, we want more commissioners. They don't actually think about how it's hurting them in the paycheck and what they could be doing with the money if it were the other way.
It's such a smart point, Rick, because people look at the federal government and they complain about President Biden or President Trump. Pick your poison, whatever. But they don't look at the local level or the county level and say, what am I being taxed? What we take more from you as a city than the federal government ever could. It's not even close. The amount you pay in property taxes, in sales taxes, in special assessments, in all the taxes that we take from you on a daily basis, it's far more than you ever pay to the federal government. So when people complain about government, look local first. And that's where I came from. That's why I got into this business. It's that I realized as a very young man that it's not President Bush or President Clinton or Trump or Biden or Obama. It's Commissioner X, Y, or Z that's taking all my money. And we need to look at that. People need to vote. The voting record in Fargo is sad, as it is across the state of North Dakota. The vast majority of people don't vote, and they need to get involved. I don't care if you vote for me or not, but get out and be involved and have a say in the game, because otherwise you can't complain.
Yeah. Well, and the point I'm starting to really try to make to people, and I get contacted all the time, hey, I want to be involved. It's a strong grassroots movement in North Dakota. And what I say is run for city commission or county commission or park board or school board. One of those, 100%. Run for those, because the natural tendency is for people of a different mindset, a different philosophy that are taking all those seats. If you want to make a difference most in your life, stay close. And if you want to move on from there, feel free.
Such a smart point again, because like the school board, no one knows who the school board members are. No one does, but they control 55% of your property taxes, and they spend those dollars. And now in City of Fargo, and I hope we talk about this, they're putting a mask on your kid for the next year. I called every school member today, and I received a phone call back from 2 of them. out of the 9. So it does matter. And that's where you do start. You don't have to be a congressman to make a difference. Be a school board, park board, city commissioner. And if I ran as a 29-year-old, 28-year-old, I got crushed. And the third time I ran, I won. And now I get to have a vote. It doesn't take $1 million to do it. Trust me, it doesn't take that much.
Right, and the nice thing is you're inspiring other people. So it's not only people might say, "Hey, it's one vote, he always loses." These folks that say that are not looking at the big picture. You're inspiring other people. You're alerting people. You're making people aware of these types of things. And I certainly hope that we can continue to spread the message. And it's not just in Fargo, by the way. It's all throughout. We need people to be involved. We need to turn this ship around, and it starts local. It definitely does. Tony, I'm going to keep you on. We're going to have you for the next segment here. I do want to talk, any other comments you have on this, but also about COVID, what's happening in the realm of masks and so forth. Folks, we'll be right back.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero service team started with 1 truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero service team does it all.
Prairie Patriot Firearms and Training is the region's most complete gun and training center. 5-lane indoor range, a gun shop, and a certified training facility. Firearms training courses are offered daily for new, intermediate, and advanced shooters. If you're not comfortable in a classroom setting, Prairie Patriot offers one-on-one private lessons, from basic self-defense training to concealed weapons testing, along with a full line of guns, ammunition, holsters, and concealment clothing. Prairie Patriot, 3930 Memorial Highway, prairiepatriot.com.
40 years ago, Aero service team started with 1 truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero service team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Welcome back. It's No Apologies on Beck, your after hours oasis of sanity. I'm your host, Rick Becker. We have with us still Fargo City Commissioner Tony Gehrig. Tony, welcome. Can you tell me, is there any truth to the rumor I'm hearing that there is a movement to clone you and replace the other 4 commissioners in Fargo with Tony Gehrig clones?
I have not heard this, and I was assumed not. Hopefully someday soon we'll get more people voting no. but today's not the day.
All right. So let's talk. You brought up masks. So are you telling me Fargo, the city of Fargo, is going to require the school kids to be masked?
So, like everywhere, we have a school board, right? So that's a different sector of the local government. They have their own subdivision. They have their own voting rights, their own laws, their own taxing authority, and they have the authority, free from the city commission, to mandate anything they want on their property. And they have now voted to mandate masks for all employees, all visitors, and of course, all students who go to school at these places. Now, I have an 8-year-old son going into 3rd grade that goes to the Fargo Public School network. And I have told all of the board members that my son will not be wearing a mask going to school. And I asked you what the penalty is. They shouldn't be punishing my son for my opinion, but they should not be politicizing mask mandates. I called every school board member, all 9 of them, today. I got responses from, I think it was 3. One was kind enough to share her opinions and was very nice to me, and we disagreed vehemently on the issue, but she was good enough to answer her phone, and good for her. I commend that. All the others did not, and that's a problem.
Yeah. So did you watch the school board meeting in which this was handled? I'm trying. Did they discuss? I mean, the science isn't there to support their policy. Are they? You know, what I'm seeing is that a lot of times the superintendent sort of just runs the show. The superintendent is actually an employee of the school board, but the school board, being your basic average citizen in most cases, just goes along with whatever the superintendent wants. Does Fargo have a the Fargo School District have a superintendent that is, you know, this pro-masker kind of person, and the rest are going along with it? Or I just don't. I really am. I'm shocked and I'm dismayed, and I feel bad for the Fargo kids, and I'm concerned that that's now going to be the example for the rest of the state. It's unbelievable.
There's a lot to unpack there, but yes, it is an example for the rest of the state. The biggest city in North Dakota just said that we need masks, and the superintendent, Dr. Gandhi, said it gave an impassioned speech about how there should be masks and how if we don't, well, I won't put words in his mouth. You can watch for yourself. But basically, we're hurting people if we don't. The one school member that did call me back that I disagreed with said she's doing the conservative thing by saying that all kids should wear masks. And I explained to her that masks are not harmless. They're harmful. So while you may be concerned about COVID-19, there are 24 different aspects to this that you're not considering. The social growth of these kids. They can't see people's faces. They can't touch each other. They can't play. They don't know your emotions because they can't see your face. They're sucking in CO2 at a larger rate than they should be. I mean, we can go on and on with this, but you're not going to make a scientific argument against the cult. The cult is the cult, and they believe that government is God, and they can save you. But there's no examples of where these mandates were put in place and they reduced harm. And I asked that school member, who was, again, very nice, how many lives are you saving? If we don't have a mask mandate, are there going to be 100 kids who die? 200? 1,000? If we have the mandate, how many is going to be? 2? 1? 0? They have no response to that. They have no idea. No. But the quote-unquote conservative thing to do is mask your kids. That is not the conservative thing to do. The conservative thing to do is allow individuals like me, a father of an 8-year-old, to decide what my kid wears to school.
Well, I would challenge these people. You're right. It's a cult. It's a COVID cult. And the problem is what they screamed in the beginning was science, 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 science. But now when we say, base your decisions on science, show us the science for school children to wear masks at this point in time, it's not there. So what they're running on is hysteria, emotion, and politics. And that is it. It's unbelievable. I'm just beside myself at this. I did not know that this was true.
Your children are a little older now. You're a grandfather now. You look great for a grandfather, by the way. But I'm right in the thick of it. My kid's 8 years old. He's a healthy little boy. who is developing like he should, and he needs to socialize. He needs to hug his friends. He needs to play. He needs to go outside. He needs to see people's faces and understand what they mean when they frown or smile or whatever. You are hurting my son. Stop it. Leave your politics out of my kid's development.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take just a moment here, Tony. I want to tell all of our viewers right now, you need to organize people that you know. You need to all call each one of your school board members. Don't wait until they pass the mandate like Fargo did. Call them now and tell them you will not tolerate this. This can't go on. This is harmful to the children. And I'm talking about socially. I'm talking about mentally. I'm talking about spiritually. And then you can make the argument for physically as well. There's no science to support this. We need to stop this. Nip it in the bud. Fargo, I'm sorry, Tony, maybe it's a lost cause, but the rest of the state we can still try and save.
Not a lost
I want to bring up.
Not a lost cause, Rick. It's not.
Okay. Well, you're right. You keep fighting, man. I'm behind you all the way. So, Rand Paul, you brought up something to me earlier during the break. Rand Paul is apparently banned now from Twitter. Is that correct?
Yeah, I saw the article on Facebook before I was talking to you, before I was coming on your show. And if we have a sitting congressman who's a doctor, who gets shut down because he gives an opinion, basically he put out a video saying resist. Call your congressman, call your state local representatives, call your school board and your city commission or council, and he got blocked for that. So I'm expecting you to be blocked next. I'm expecting me to be blocked next, because I'm not saying don't get the vaccine or don't wear a mask. I'm saying allow a dad to tell his boy what to wear to school. In North Dakota, he wears snow pants and he wears a jacket to school. And I decide that, not you. I decide what makes him comfortable and warm and safe, not the government.
Yeah, this whole thing has devolved into something that is very, very frightening. And I think you'll agree. We have come to, the COVID now is the separator between those that demand compliance and are fine with the state controlling things, and those that are tenaciously clinging on to their freedom. And yes, we get ridiculed for like, how much freedom is a mask? No, this is so much more than that.
No, it's totally true. And people say don't politicize the pandemic. Well, first of all, they politicize it first by saying that they called the Trump vaccine, and Kamala Harris or Kamala or whatever, however she pronounced it this week, changes her mind on that. And now all of a sudden you're a zealot or a crazy person for saying maybe my 5-year-old shouldn't get an unapproved vaccine. I don't know. Maybe that's just being a responsible adult.
Yeah. I agree, Tony. I'm gonna cut you off. I'm sorry. We got a hard break on this one. You brought up great points. I appreciate you. Keep doing your hard work. Fargo is so lucky to have you, and I hope that they are successful in stealing your DNA and cloning you. All right, folks. Next up, we are going to have a great Freedom Fest interview, so stick with us.
When you're buying windows, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. Hi, I'm Jesse with the Window Source. We only sell you the best windows and doors for the best price. Call the Window Source. Just because you pay less doesn't mean you get less.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go. We deliver for you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
From Lambeau Field to your living room. Catch all the Green Bay Packers preseason games exclusively on Beck Sports. Available on KRDK, KNDB, or KNDM TV. The Pack take on the Houston Texans August 14th, followed by the New York Jets August 21st, and end off the preseason with the Buffalo Bills August 28th. Check Beck.Sports to find more scheduling and local channel information.
Hey, we're back, and it's time for a Freedom Fest interview. Now, this gentleman is someone that I was very, very pleased to be able to have obtained an interview with him. His name is Yaron Brook. He is the chairman for the Ayn Rand Institute, and he is an author. He's actually an author of several books and articles, but he is an author of Equal is Unfair. I'm going to have you watch this interview. I love this guy.
All right, folks, we are at Freedom Fest in Rapid City, South Dakota, and I am so very happy to present our next guest, and it is Mr. Yaron Brook. I just purchased this book, of which he is an author. I've not yet read it, but I am very, very intrigued. We're going to talk about this book. He's also chairman of the board of the Ayn Rand Institute and runs his own podcast. Mr. Brook, the name of the podcast again?
Yaron Brook Show. Simple.
Right. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
I have a feeling that we could cover probably
several hours,
topics,
absolutely.
And I love the Ayn Rand Institute.
Good.
But I would love to talk to you about your book because I've read the title, and again, I'd love to have read it before having the opportunity to interview you. However, Equal is Unfair. One of the biggest things that conservatives, that small government people are fighting against is this perception that income inequality is bad. Now, I am supposing that you are covering that topic in this book.
That is the topic. Yeah, absolutely. It's wealth inequality, income inequality, outcome inequality is perceived today by the left. Egalitarianism is the philosophy du jour. Egalitarianism means everybody should be the same, everybody should be equal. That is their philosophy, and that drives many of the policy agendas. It drives much of kind of the BLM arguments, right? Even if you look at CRT, the critical race theory, one of the arguments of systemic racism is not that they can point to specific cases of racism. What they point to is outcomes that are different.
Yes.
And instead of asking the question, why are outcomes different, which I think is an important question, and racism might play a role in it, they don't do that. They just say the fact that there's a difference proves that there's racism and we have to equate it. So what they want is for outcomes to be the same. And that, I think, is the most dangerous idea in the world. The idea that outcomes should be the same is an unbelievably destructive, anti-life, anti-human idea. Maybe the most evil idea that is out there. Whenever it's been practiced, whenever it's been put into play by political powers, it's led to only death and destruction.
Absolutely. I think it takes away from so many facets of humanity. For instance, I frequently cite that I believe this whole position is all about envy instead of aspiration. It takes away motivation. It takes away desire to do better.
It's absolutely. It's all driven by envy, but it's deeper than envy. It's actually driven, I think, to a large extent by desire to knock things down. This is nihilism. This is it's driven by the idea to destroy. Ayn Rand called envy. Yeah. She defined envy as hatred of the good for being the good. right? Not for viewing their vices, but for hating them for their virtues. And so you hate successful people, not because they have some vices on the side or something, but because they're successful, because they did something good, because they produced a product, because they sold it, because they changed the world, right? So people are motivated by this desire to destroy, and it's hard for good people to understand it, but it really does drive the real activists. And so, you know, the book describes the fact that we're all different. I mean, you know, we hit Freedom Fest, a lot of people around us. You know, you look at these people, everybody's different. Everybody has different skills, different talents, different abilities, and everybody's going to produce at a different level. And that's great. I mean, it's wonderful that we all have different skills. I mean, it would be unbelievably boring world if we were all the same, right? Even if everybody was like me, it would still be unbelievably boring. We want that diversity of production, that diversity of ideas, that diversity of abilities and so on. And look, if you take a group of people, any group of people, and you give them freedom, and they go out and they do stuff, and you come back a month later, they're going to be different. Some people work harder than other people. It's not even to say that working hard is good. Some people work too hard, maybe. Yeah. But some people work harder than other people. Some people are smarter than other people. Some people, you know, I like to say, I mean, you know, I'm a PhD in finance. And I went and became a professor. I was given offers on Wall Street. I could have gone to Wall Street, could have gone to a hedge fund, could have made millions and millions of dollars. But you know what my passion is, as you can tell from this? I love talking, I love teaching, I love explaining things. I chose not to make a lot of money. Life's not about money. Money's important, but life's not just about money. So the fact that I'm a teacher and make less money than somebody at Wall Street is fine. The fact is I'll touch fewer lives than the guy on Wall Street. The guy on Wall Street is funding the next company that'll change the world. So he's getting compensated in accordance to that, and that's great. So inequality is a product of our differences, our talents, our skills, our work, our smarts, all of those, and it's determined in the marketplace by how much value we create for people, right? Yep. If you know, Jeff Bezos is the richest guy in the world because he's created the most value. Yeah. He's changed our lives. He's changed the way we all live. I haven't. Right? Yeah. If I could get to 1 billion people, then I'd be rich too.
Right. And yeah, more power to Bezos. I wish he'd spend his money on different political pursuits, but
no, I like him. I like the space stuff. I mean, that's going to change humanity, and you don't know what his politics are. The fact that he, you know, I would be very careful in assuming we know what his politics are. Okay. He's been very quiet about his politics. Well, I don't think they're Republican necessarily, but they might not be left either.
Yes. So we'll a couple of interesting things. I think that we touched on the aspect of, I think Ayn Rand would have said that it's essentially immoral to be wanting to be trying to get at someone else's productivity, to try and bring someone down to make things equal. So that's important. So there's this moral aspect, but even if we were to say, for argument's sake, that it's an okay goal to have, the only way to achieve that goal, and this is what I want to bring up with you touching on before, is that you give someone, make them all equal, a month later, based on what they've done, they will again be unequal. Some will have been lucky, some invested, some wasted, and it will require constant recalibration. So if your desire was for equality, it absolutely requires a totalitarian, completely authoritarian form of government.
Absolutely, but also you're giving them too much credit by calling it calibration, right? This is force. Somebody comes to your house and takes your stuff. Yeah. Right? This is violence. It's violence. Redistribution of wealth is violence. It's taking my stuff and giving it to somebody else. I don't want it taken away from me. Doesn't matter what you want. The majority, by the magic of democracy, says that a crime, theft, is now legit. How morally, you can't do that. So Ayn Rand had this great statement. She said, what is immoral for an individual to do is immoral for a group to do. Yep. If stealing is immoral for you, then stealing is immoral for many of you. Right? Yes. And look, the only way to achieve equality is by massive violence. I like to complain about basketball inequality. You know, Milwaukee Bucks just won the championship. And I want to be able to play with Giannis, right? Yeah. One-on-one basketball. And I want to be able to score as many points as he does. Or, I'd like to score one basket. Yeah, a little bit of equality, right? And the fact is, he's 7 foot something, unbelievable athlete, amazing. If I played basketball with him, I wouldn't score a point. Right. That's not fair. So how do we make it so that I and Giannis can get on a basketball court and have some semblance of equality?
He has to play on his knees.
Well, play on his knees, he'd still beat me because he's probably taller even then. He's more athletic even on his knees. I mean, you're being too gentle, but usually if I ask an audience that, they'll say, somebody will yell out, break his legs. Yeah, you'd have to break his legs. Maybe one arm too. Mm-hmm. But you'd have to do it in violence.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Spas, etc. You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you can pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York style pizza. We also feature gyros with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hey, you're back to me. What the hell? You're supposed to roll into a video, guys. Let's just do it. Roll.
Now, if you think about the world in which we live today, if you live in California, the government is taking 54% of your income every year, if you're wealthy. Is that not the same as breaking your legs? What is income? Income is what you've earned through your time, your effort, your energy. It's yours. It's you. It's part of you. Yep. And they just take it 54%, and we all say, cool, no problem. Right. We voted for it. And unfortunately, Republicans are almost as bad as Democrats on this. You know, you got to fight for real capitalism, real freedom, and that involves letting people keep their wealth.
Yep.
And I'm just part of it.
Absolutely true. The money that you make is a product of the time that you invest in labor or other things. Research.
All you have is time in life.
Exactly right. All you have is time.
Yeah.
So to take your profits are to take your time, which is to take your life.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, obviously we're on the same page there.
Good.
I'm still intrigued, and I'm going to read your book here within the next week, I hope. What other thoughts do you have when it comes to equality, the arguments, and maybe the concerns you have that might be the biggest obstacle to countering this argument?
Well, I mean, the biggest concerns I have, the biggest obstacles, are the fact that we've all grown up with what I can consider conventional morality. You know, conventional morality is an altruistic morality. Conventional morality says that the ideal is to be selfless. The ideal is to sacrifice for others. Religion teaches us that. Our secular philosophers teach us that. Everybody teaches us that. And that concerns me. It says that if you focus too much on yourself, you should feel guilty for it. You should. And I think that is the ultimate obstacle for freedom, because freedom ultimately is about the individual. And the purpose for freedom. Yesterday I did a seminar here and I asked the people, why do you care about freedom? Why is freedom important? Well, freedom is important so that I can use my mind to pursue my values to achieve my happiness.
Yes.
That's unbelievably selfish. It's all about me. And it is. And Ayn Rand wrote a famous book called The Virtue of Selfishness. And Ayn Rand challenged the underlying morality of the culture. She challenged this idea that your purpose in life should be to serve other people or to sacrifice to other people. Your purpose in life should be to achieve your happiness and to pursue the values necessary for that. And she has a whole moral code about how to do that.
Yeah.
It's not about lying, cheating, stealing. It's about being productive and being rational and being honest. That's how you achieve happiness. That's the obstacle. The obstacle is they play on the sacrifice. They play on, those businessmen. Look, they've all been self-interested in their lives. They don't care about people. They don't give enough to charity. I mean, the Bezos thing, we talked about Bezos. Bezos went into space, which I think is amazing. It's just a terrific achievement. And everybody's complaining that he could have given the money to charity. It's not your money.
No. So I think this is probably the biggest irony, and I have not found a good, succinct way to express it. I think it's ironic that for the desire to do away with self-interest, be altruistic, for the betterment of others, is actually less good for others
Absolutely.
than if you act in your own self-interest.
Absolutely.
So it's almost, I've called it the invisible hand of morality.
Yes.
And Adam Smith talked about the invisible hand. Talking about the baker or the butcher or whatever. They're not providing you meat for your betterment. They're trying to improve themselves, their families, and in doing so are making your lives far better than they could if they were doing it as a selfless act.
Absolutely. And Ayn Rand but Adam Smith apologizes for that because he feels bad about the self-interest, right? Ayn Rand says, forget it. Self-interest is good. You should pursue it consistently. And she says self-interest is hard because it requires thinking about what is really good for you. What values should you pursue? What values are destructive? What values are values that build? So to her, to be self-interested is an achievement. It's not just being a whim worshiper. It's actually thinking through what is good for you. So, but yes, look, and this is the evidence. Altruists don't actually care about other people. They don't care about themselves either, but they don't care about other people. And how do you know this? You can see this by the fact that the greatest benefactors of humankind are businessmen. Nobody has lifted more people out of poverty than businessmen. And yet businessmen are the villains. Right? So if the standard is helping other people, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Bezos, these are the guys who've lifted people out of poverty. And yet they're considered evil. So they don't care about other people. What do they care about? They want you to suffer. They want you to sacrifice. They want you to give up your life. That's so you've been to museums, seen paintings from religious paintings. You ever see a saint who's happy? kind of having a good time. No,
I don't think so.
The whole purpose of sainthood, the definition of sainthood, is suffering. The whole point of sainthood is the arrow sticking in you and you're still going, because the whole point is to suffer. But life shouldn't be about suffering. Life is about joy. Life is about finding joy. It's about achieving happiness. And that goes against their morality, because their whole angle of morality is to elicit suffering.
To bring up religion, I find it fascinating. I've looked back at some of the encyclicals from the popes, and specifically Leo XIII and then John Paul II, who did an encyclical which basically celebrated. And it was about, more or less, the virtue of work and tying in dignity and how that's better. And of course, that is 180 degrees from Pope Francis right now. But I think that
that's part of the little ridiculousness about popes, right? They obviously don't talk to God unless God changes his mind every week.
Well, or right.
We can get into theology, but
that might be a slightly different of it. But there have been religious leaders that have recognized this, the importance of this concept.
Well, but not really. I mean, not really. I mean, I've read John Paul's encyclical, and yeah, he values work, but he values work as service, not as work as self-fulfillment, not as work as self. I mean, I value work because work provides you with the self-esteem. Work provides you with achievement. Work provides you with the opportunities for pride, which they consider sin. So I don't think there's any pope in all of human history who's actually advocated for that approach to work. The work it's important because you're serving others. That's how you serve others, is through work.
Interesting.
So he values capitalism. He values capitalism because it helps other people. I value capitalism because it helps the individual.
True.
And yes, other people are better off. Good for them. But it's for every individual as an end in himself.
But it's kind of cool, though, don't you think, that regardless of the motivation, capitalism is the answer?
Well, not if your motivation is suffering, not if your motivation is pain, not if your motivation is to knock things down, and the leftists' motivation is to knock things down.
Yes.
Many religionists, not all, but many religious motivation is to see suffering. Yeah, Mother Teresa, with all due respect to Mother Teresa, she believed the meek shall inherit the earth, and she wanted lots of meek people. So she prevented poor people from dying, but never helped a poor person rise up from poverty. That wasn't a goal.
Yeah.
The suffering of the poor was a virtue. Now, I think that's pretty bad.
You know what? I would love to dive deeper into that, but I'm going to leave it.
Sometime we'll do that.
Yes.
Some of the time.
All right, fantastic. Well, Mr. Brook, it has been a pleasure. I wish that I could talk with you for another couple of hours, but a real treat.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Yaron Brook.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Doesn't get better than that, folks. All right, we will see you tomorrow night.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit my